Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-filled review for Raybearer by Jordan Ufueko. This is the Illumicrate edition, which is it's just so stunning, and it's just beautiful. Okay, so first of all, we have to appreciate that. And of course, the American cover is also stunning. These are both stunning in their own way. I think I'm gonna mostly hold up this one though. Yeah, so I am doing a spoiler-filled review. I'm gonna do a spoiler-free and spoiler-filled review, but we're gonna start with spoilers. So this is a young adult fantasy series, and I read this twice now, and the first time that I read it, I think it didn't all get in the brain there, so I decided to reread it, and I took notes this time, so I will be discussing things in as much detail as I can recall, and I'm just gonna spew out things that come to mind without looking at my notes, which are just the fantasy elements of this book are just so delicious. There's just so many magical, awesome elements. The things come to mind. There's people who go to the underworld. There's having to have psychic connections to other people. Our main girl has the power to share her memories with people and see other people's memories and apparently erase her own memories, which was a huge expansion of the magic system that was just so delicious. The fantasy elements in this book just show what fantasy can do, and this is why fantasy is my favorite genre, because there's just no limits with the creativity that you come up with, and I think this book just showcases it so well. The psychic connection thing and the sickness that you encounter from the council sickness that you get if you spend too much time away from. It just feeds into also one of my favorite tropes, which is the found family trope. And the prince in this book, I loved him so much, and then we found out that he was I don't want to be with anyone. I think I might be he doesn't say asexual, but he was I don't want to be with the guys, I want to be with the girls. Just so good. And then her love interest, Terry Sai's love interest throughout this whole book just reacts in ways that are just completely rational, and but also the development of their relationship is just so good. I want to read about this world forever, because there's just so many cool things happening that my nerdy nerd heart just eats up. And this started off with her in the Bettina house. She starts off in Bettina house, then she moves to the children's palace, then she moves sort of back to Bettina house, but the expansion of it's just so good. And I'm gonna look at my notes now, and we're gonna get into specifics. Okay, so we find out in the beginning of the book that the lady wants to kill the king of this realm or whatever, and I can't remember who exposes the backstory to Terry Sai about the lady, and how she is also a Raybearer, because another thing that is discussed in this book a lot is how only men are supposed to be Raybearers or Redemptors. There was a scene also that I'm thinking of when Terry Sai was I'm a Redemptor, or a woman is a Redemptor, and they were oh, you could birth one, but you couldn't be one. But then we get this backstory that the lady is a Raybearer, and there's always a guy and a girl Raybearer, and the whole situation with the lady, it makes sense why she would be so evil, because he just completely exiled her from the kingdom, and she had to go to a different part of the world because he was too arrogant and just thought that oh no, she can't be a Raybearer, it's not possible. But then we find out later on in the book that there are always two Raybearers, one male, one female, and it was just so good. The thing and the title, and also how it says "Behold what is coming" is another name for Terry Sai. It's again, I think the favorite part about this was the world building and the fantastical elements of this. Just so good. Oh my goodness. And then also the beginning of the book, there's just such a good job. Jordan does such a good job of setting up all of this angst in a way, because no one wants to touch Terry Sai, and there's all this topic of her being this abomination. I don't know if they ever use that word, but the way it's written, she feels she's just so wrong, and how she just feels so just wrong, and she just feels she shouldn't exist, or she only exists to pursue this other purpose. And again, it's just written so well. And when eventually she does go to the children's palace and actually start to make it's even more satisfying when you're reading about her having this found family thing, because she starts off in this spot that's so devastating, but then she and then there's always this Prince Dio is always do you love me now? Do you love me now, Terry Sai? And it was just so good, because, and also we know that she has to kill the prince because of the way the lady set it up, and she obviously doesn't want to, and she doesn't want, part of the situation is that once he anoints you as his own, then you'll kill him. And like the way that this book delivered on that, but didn't actually do it, but also like it was just so good. It was so good. And like this scene, I remember writing down specific like verbiage from that scene, right? So the Redemptors also, like that was another just fascinating piece of like they're people who go to the underworld, and like if they come back, then they become this like greater being, I guess. I don't know. Okay, and also another aspect of the world building being the fact that like if you are a Raybearer and you have your council, like each one of them joins you and then you become immortal because you cannot be defeated except for by old age, was again just such a fascinating piece of the world building. Like I think that was like this, like the world building of this book is just 10 out of 10. Just, and again, just the development of Sanjeet and Tarisai's like entire like romance plot was just so good and slow, and like, but the way he reacted whenever she did stab the prince, and how the prince like whispers in her ear like you're stronger than her because like you didn't go for my heart, was just, oh man. But like the way that that happens, and then like before all that happens, Sanjeet and her are developing this whole love story, but then she's looking at him and she just like there's a line that's like, the line is that some demons can't be soothed by lullaby. Oh my god, it was so good. Okay, and also like it's kind of discovered on later in the book that like obviously like we know there's two Raybearers, right? But then the prince, like, oh, I loved the prince so much. He was such a good character, such a good character. Like he was one of my favorite characters, probably if not my favorite character besides Tarisai. Like he was, like he talks about later on how he's like, oh, like it makes sense that there should be two Raybearers because like I could tell that like you talking to Tarisai, like you would be a fantastic like co-pilot in a way. Like I can just tell that like you would be, or like even better than me at all this stuff. Like it was just so good. I'm just gonna keep saying that over and over again. Like it was just so good. Okay, also the fact that like Sanjeet has a nickname for her, in that Sunshine Girl, I just, oh man, like I love when love interests have nicknames for each other and they're not like stupid, like, and it makes sense. God, it was so good. Also, she refers, like, so after she stabs the prince, she refers to herself as a demon, and it's like demons don't have best friends, like demons aren't allowed to have this. And again, like it's just like it really hit me in a specific way at this moment in my life because, oh man, like, and this was just so beautiful to read, like all of the like internal turmoil with like you feeling like you are a demon and you are the worst person to exist. Like that sounds dramatic, but like this book is dramatic, but like, oh man, reading it just like soothed me to like read about a character that felt like they were the worst thing ever, but other characters were like, no, you're not. And as the book progresses, like obviously, like if you're listening to all this, like you probably read the book, but like as the story progresses, like just they're like, they don't blame her for what happened, but they like, and the whole council is so like, they tell all the guards and stuff, they're like, oh, like just don't worry about what happened, like, and they're protecting her and her reputation. And it was just such a, like the found family vibes in this were so good. Also, again, to kind of go along with that theme and how she's thinking about how the lady like forced her to kill this prince, but she has this entire internal monologue that I love, where she was like, well, which one am I? Am I the person who's come to the castle and become friends with all these people, and am I that person, or am I the person who like maybe I was pretending the whole time I've been with these people, maybe. And that just I love that theme of like, who even am I actually who I've been pretending to be this whole time, or am I someone else? Again, something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, like not obviously in a much more like, you know, real life setting. This is just, and I just love seeing it in a fantasy environment. Also, I just love, like, there's a whole scene in here where they go to the underworld because of reasons I can't remember, but like the like ghosts and stuff like play all these like tricks on Sanjeet and Tarisai. Like I just like, this book had a lot of fantasy tropes that I love, but it also did a really good job of like just having like fantasy elements, just mind-blowing things, just things that were like just so good. Like it's not anything that we've never seen before, but all of it put together in here combined, and the characters were just so good and well written, and the world was so, again, I've said it so many times, the world and like the magic system and the like the way things function here were just so beautiful. Okay, again, like another line that like feeds into like the beauty of the Ray and being the Raybearer, like she was saying at one point, like she was like, I want to be wrapped in the love of my siblings, like oh man, like the siblings that you have from like your connection to the Ray. Okay, and then the ending, like let's just like the very, very ending, like there's a lot that happens at the end here with like her and like how she's standing up in front of like the whole, I want to say kingdom, but I don't know if that's what, it's not referred to as a kingdom, but like that's kind of like what I'm picturing. She's like in front of everyone in this part of the land, and she's like saying how she said this line really like called out to me, that she says like silence is not peace. Like just because like people are not speaking doesn't mean that they're agreeing with everything that's happening in the world. And she again, like I want to say the king tried to, what do they call him? Like I don't know, but like the ending part where she ends up having to like create her own, like because she's a Raybearer herself. Like, and we find like that they're like, okay, well you have to create your own council. So that's like what's going to be happening in the sequel most likely. Like it was just such a good way to like make me intrigued to want to continue and read the next book. And I'm so glad it's a duology. But I do believe we're getting more in this world, which, as I have said, I love the world. So like I would read books in this world. Like I don't know if it's going to be like a duology after duology. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I definitely plan to read book 2. And you know, I love seeing like a successful Black author. It's just so exciting. It's so lovely. And this is what I love about the fantasy genre. Like we're seeing more and more non-European settings, and it's just elevating like just everything about the genre. It just makes the genre just unique in a way that other genres just can't. They could never give us this. They just couldn't. And I just love how this ends, like, because the whole book, she's like, in the very beginning of the book, she's like, my mom wouldn't say my name, she wouldn't say my name, but like the very last line of the book is like her mom / the lady calling her name, and it's just beautiful. So those are all my spoiler-filled thoughts on this book. If you read it, please let me know. Please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear about it. Let me know what you thought about it. I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. It will all be in the description for you to check out if you'd like. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.